Hello YouTube. Since Techrat Encore made a bunch of changes to Exalted Blade and also Slash Dash, I thought I'd demonstrate some of the things that I've tested that I haven't recorded, but I've been able to successfully test, and I'll demonstrate how I tested that and for everyone else's reference as well. What I'll start with is showing Slash Dash functioning with just Exalted Blade. So I'll show the Exalted Blade build. There's a reason I'm using these mods right here, and I'll discuss that here in a moment. This is mostly a test setup specifically to demonstrate melee influence and some of the behaviors for it. I don't have a melee weapon equipped, which for those of us that have played Excalibur for a while, that's an important thing to show that he does in fact have electric status, and also I have procced influence. So once I proc influence, I have 100% crit chance, or 100% electric status chance. You notice it procs it every single time. So I am procking influence with every single cast, but now I do not have influence, and this first one does not proc it. But that 20% chance to proc the melee influence buff did in fact give me the nice RNG for that, so then when I do this, it should apply to both. The important thing to discuss with melee influence that maybe people aren't aware of. So melee influence, it's a 20% chance for you to proc the buff for 18 seconds. And then on each electric status effect, it then has the 100% chance to spread that status effect. So what I've been able to do here is I've guaranteed that I at least proc one electric status effect, and that's the only thing I proc. So then every single time I use Slash Dash in this scenario, I will proc an electric status effect. Where this becomes important is demonstrating the behavior of something like, well, what if you equip melee influence on your equipped melee weapon? So, I'll demonstrate why this unfortunately doesn't work the way that you might think it does. So we will do this until I proc melee influence. Take a while. We'll see. Alright, so there's melee influence. Now note, I've been meleeing with Skana, Prisma Skana in this case, in order to proc this. So as I demonstrated earlier, I should, if this applies, then it should proc. Notice how he doesn't have an electric status effect, and that still only has 2. So, what's important to demonstrate here, and important to understand, is that you can't use melee influence on a stat stick for like your melee weapon, let's just say, and then have it work on Slash Dash. But, as I just demonstrated that not working, let's do this. So I pull out Exalted Blade, and their first attack I get influence. This influence was procced by Exalted Blade. I no longer have Exalted Blade out, and then watch. Notice how it spread. So the TLDR is that you can have melee influence procced with your equipped melee, and it doesn't apply to Slash Dash or Exalted Blade. But if you proc it with Exalted Blade, eventually, if you proc it with Exalted Blade, it will in fact apply to Slash Dash. So they're separate. They exist independently. You never get 2 procs, or I've never seen it give me 2 procs, and even then it just refreshed it. And yet it was still able to just spread it because the previous one was still stacked. Sort of like how Charm used to work, where you used to be able to stack it more than once, and then it would you could stack it more than once, and you couldn't tell that you stacked it more than once until you saw the actual loot that you got, and then noticed that it was quadrupled instead of just doubled. That's probably the example of that. The other thing I'll demonstrate is notice how I have Blood Rush and Weeping Wound stacks. So I have Gladiator, Blood Rush, and Weeping Wound stacks. Where these are being applied to isn't clear. It's not clear at all. It doesn't stack independently, and they don't work between one another. And the way I'll demonstrate this, and the way I tested this, is if you look at Gladiator's Rush. So if we calculate out the crit chance for this, if we were at 12 by 220, that would give us it's 660% times 0.15 and then plus 1.5, or and plus 15. And so that would give us a resulting, at 12 by 220, it would give us a resulting 114% crit chance. Where 114% crit chance is important is it's a guaranteed yellow crit, which means if, let's say we stack, let's have these same mods. So I'll show this right here. So I have the same exact amount of stacks on this. We'll even get rid of this. I'll even get rid of that to demonstrate this even better. So we have the same amount of, what should be the same amount of resulting crit chance. Like, let's say if these were applying passively to slash dash, then I should be able to slash dash, and we'll get a whole set of enemies to make this a little bit easier to. So once I stack these all the way up, which is pretty easy to do with this. So these are all at 11 times. So then in theory, if those are applying to slash dash, I should get guaranteed yellow crits. And notice how I'm not guaranteeing yellow crits. I'm still getting just regular base attacks with a small chance at yellow crit. Alright, so I think that demonstrates these buffs aren't applying, even though you see these buffs, they're applied to my Prismascana right now, but they're not applied to slash dash. Now, just clear that out. So we have 0 right there. And then we'll come in here and build as much combo as I'm able to for time. Alright, so now I should be very close to being guaranteed yellow crits on slash dash and in this case Exalted Blade. And there you go. So small chance at orange crits, and they're all guaranteed yellow crits. All right, so we properly demonstrated that slash dash is being its combo is being applied based on Exalted Blade. Now, getting rid of the concept of melee influence entirely, let's go to something like Crescendo. The other thing to demonstrate here is that your combo on slash dash, it doesn't have its own combo. And the way I'll show this is getting rid of a melee weapon entirely. And I'll even get rid of Galvanized Reflex. So I don't have a melee weapon. I do have a pretty high combo duration, base combo duration right here. And it actually shouldn't be. I don't know why it's 18.5. Unless they just recently changed this. Oh, no. I see why. Okay, yeah. Because I have dexterity here. Alright, so we have pretty good combo duration here. So we should be able to generate combo with just slash dash, correct? So we don't have we're not going to draw out Exalted Blade. And we have Blood Rush, Reaping Wounds, those sorts of things on. So we should be able to generate combo here. Oh, here, I'll fix that. That is totally bugged in the corner. Well, we'll fix this real quick. This is something I've had to do a few times when testing this, especially with running Galvanized mods. Galvanized mods seem to not reset properly when you change in Simulacrum. So we'll reset this so that those are easy to see. Alright, so going back to this, no melee weapon equipped. Every combo point that we should generate should be applying to slash dash, correct? Except slash dash doesn't have its own combo chance. It doesn't generate combo, it doesn't have its own combo duration, almost as if it has 0 second combo duration. It should have 18.5% if it was being applied properly from Exalted Blade. Now, the way around this is with initial combo. So you can either use, I put on Crescendo for a reason. That's probably the easiest way to do it. We'll change here just real quick. Make this a little bit easier for us. Put on some Vazarin. And pull out Exalted Blade. And we're going to stack some Crescendo. If you are unaware, you can stack Crescendo very easily using ground finishers. Well, assuming you don't have really tanky enemies. While you're running a test build. So we'll fix that real quick. Make this a lot easier. This, and then we'll take him down to. All right. And then we're going to proceed to stack Crescendo as much as we can, which is to maximum. This is not going to be with initial or with any combo generation, but purely initial combo. Let's see where we're at. And notice after I decasted Exalted Blade, we're getting combo generation here. And so now, baseline, we're at 11x. So now, I've unequipped, no melee weapon. I'm trying to quick melee right here. No melee weapon equipped. Now what we should get is guaranteed yellow crits, because we've been able to, instead of relying on slash dash to be able to generate its own combo, we're relying exclusively on initial combo through Crescendo. And look at that. Guaranteed yellow crits. With some orange crits right there, since we're at like 114%, if I remember the math for it. Yeah, they're only level 25 enemies. It's not that good. So what's important about this to understand is one of the reasons why in some of my builds I'm using Galvanized Reflex is because this applies. So if you're using slash dash without Exalted Blade, or even with Exalted Blade, you at least can guarantee that you're at 4x, because slash dash should still scale based on the combo counter. It should still have its multiplicative damage bonus from the combo counter like the rest of the pseudo Exalteds, and like it had before the most recent change. So that's where this mod is very powerful, because, and I don't know if it's bugged, or if I don't know if it's or if it's intentional, but slash dash doesn't work the same as the rest of them. Just to even demonstrate, I'll where is it? I'll pull out Cora and demonstrate the way Whipclaw works. So if you're just Whipclawing things, you notice how you get this combo counter below your cursor. Anyone that's played any of these other characters should have noticed this by now. Slash dash doesn't have this. It's either that DE intends slash dash to work differently, as if it can't generate this, or this feature right now is bugged. Until they change that, my stance is going to be using either Exalted Blade as the way to buff slash dash, or using Galvanized Reflex to at least provide a decent amount of base combo, so that you have sufficient initial combo. And the other thing I'll even demonstrate here is we'll reset. I'll demonstrate one more last thing before I conclude this video. Reset that counter. What we'll do is we'll give ourselves some initial combo. Prep charge. So we notice we have Blood Rush and Gladiator set bonus, at least baseline here already. So initial combo does apply, but if you had to choose between that mod and something like Galvanized Reflex is very powerful. That it gets you at least a 5x and 4x of the bonuses. So it's just a little bugged right now. It doesn't really show it properly in Simulacrum, but if you actually get kills here, which might be a little difficult, we'll see. And you can see those stacks. So slash dash does apply these stacks. This is a change that was made, so even without a melee weapon equipped, it does proc and count as melee damage, whether that's to your companion. I'll show that as well. Slash dash counts as a proper melee attack or a melee kill for this reason. That wasn't the case before Tekra Encore. If you were slash dashing around and let's say your Mr. Bigglesworth here was dancing about hitting enemies and you were in a slash dash without Exalted Blade, then it would in fact allow your pet to die. But now, see we have some overguard up on our Mr. Bigglesworth because Prime Pack Leader, which gives them overguard with melee attacks, does count with slash dash now. Before, this was hard to differentiate, but before, I believe the only way that it counted with Exalted Blade out was because when you hit a target, it also throws a wave. So the wave that goes through and hits another enemy behind them, right here. So that used to count as the melee attack, and from what I believe, I don't think even when you had Exalted Blade out, slash dash counted as a melee attack. It was just resulted of the wave that's guaranteed for you to get when you're using it with Exalted Blade. So to sort of recap, as a final recap, so you cannot use a equipped melee weapon with melee influence to proc melee influence for Exalted Blade or for slash dash. That doesn't work. The other thing is that slash dash does not generate its own combo. It doesn't work like the other ones. It doesn't have its own discrete combo counter, but it does apply based on Exalted Blade. So if Exalted Blade is drawn, it does successfully apply the combo counter from Exalted Blade to slash dash, and then also you can use something like Crescendo or Galvanized Reflex or even Corrupt Charge to build or have initial combo, and therefore combo on slash dash regardless of if Exalted Blade is drawn or not. So any questions, anything that you think I might have missed regarding this testing, feel free to leave it in the comments. I've reported this as a bug. I don't think it's supposed to work this way. I feel like the way it should work and the way I hope DE changes this to work is that if you build combo with slash dash, let's say you get to 12 by 220 on slash dash, and you're using Narman in order to maintain that, then when you pull out Exalted Blade retains that combo, and it allows you to sort of have two discrete combo counters instead of having this weird scenario where when Exalted Blade's not drawn, it has no combo. When you pull out Exalted Blade, your slash dash, air quote, slash dash combo is gone. And then also being just unable to generate combo for slash dash independently. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.